In this video, we're going to check out a new Native Instruments expansion pack and talk about how these packs provide more value than just sounds, loops, and samples. What's up guys, Barry here, and if it's your first time to the channel, we talk about beat making and music production. So if that's your thing, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. With that said, in this video, we're going to take a look at Native Instruments' new expansion pack, Burnt Hues. And if you are interested in picking it up, please consider using the affiliate link down in the description, as I do make a little bit of commission on your purchase. And every little bit counts on my journey as an independent musician and content creator. Burnt Hues comes with 8 Maschine project files which you can break down, study, and learn from. Now, the first thing I notice is how organized everything is, which is something I personally need to get better at, from the scenes and pattern names to the color coordination of the groups. Naturally, when you create a new group, it's a different color than the previous, and if you want to change those groups to match in color, simply press Shift and click on the groups and select your desired color. Another thing I noticed from this project is the use of clips for effects, which is something I stress and have made videos on. It's super beneficial if you want a sound to cross between 2 different scenes. For the way I create my projects, I don't often need to go beyond the 8 groups, but if you're one that does, simply pressing the plus button on the software can add more. Something else I noticed are that the samples are in ADSR mode as opposed to one-shot mode. A benefit of doing so is that the Midi notes control the duration the sample is played, allowing you more control when you're sequencing a pattern. Alright, so that was the third chop in one-shot mode. Let's switch it to ADSR mode and see what it can do. So definitely way easier when you want to create drops within your sample. Another benefit of using ADSR mode within the sample module is the ability to engage loop mode, which then allows you to infinitely extend the length of a one-shot or sample. There's so much value in simply just opening up and digging through the Maschine project files that come with these expansion packs. The big standout for me in this project is how gritty and crunchy the drums sound. Looking at the drum group reveals a saturator providing that heavy sound. As an experiment, let's listen to those drums opened up as a separate group. Notice how loading up the group provides you with some effects already tweaked uniquely to these collection of sounds. So great sounding drum samples, but definitely missing that aggressive grit we learned that the saturator provides. Let's do this one more time, but loading the drums up as one-shots. So you can definitely tell the difference between the 3. And we wouldn't have discovered the saturator there if we didn't open up that project file. So I've done quite a few videos talking about templates within the Maschine. And an underappreciated part with these expansion packs are the fact that they come with so many effects chains that you can use and create your own templates from. Opening the master section, you can see a collection of Maschine stock effects, saying you don't need the most elaborate plugins to master your project. Let's mute everything to see if we can actually hear much of a difference. So I recently stumbled upon a Reddit thread where they were discussing what's a perfect swing setting for the perfect groove. And while going through a lot of these Native Instruments expansion packs, I'm noticing that the answer doesn't lie so much in the swing setting, it more so lies within how the notes are on and off of the grid that really makes that pattern groove. Having had turned the metronome on really gives you an idea of how off the grid those hi-hats really are. Zooming in, you can see that the kick and snare remain on the grid, somewhat like a rhythmic anchor, while the hi-hat does its thing moving around the grid. Here's another example of a really great groove provided within Burnt Hues. As someone who's deeply invested in sound design, it's truly inspiring to see how Native Instruments sound designers can craft amazing sounds simply by using Maschine's internal instruments and effects. Alright guys, so those were just a few reasons as to why I feel that these Native Instruments expansion packs provide more value than just being a collection of sounds, loops, and samples. With that said, let me go ahead and break down a beat idea I made using Native Instruments' latest expansion pack, Burnt Hues. The drums for this beat primarily comes from the Mantle kit. I also have this drum fill, where I took the individual parts and linked them to the main kit to provide some continuity from the fill. Next, I have 2 percussion loops played every so often throughout the beat. And here's the drums as a whole. For the main keyboard part, I'm using these 2 samples. Chopped up in sequence, they sound like this. I also have this ambience tab, which originally comes from this sample with a bunch of effects on it. Next up, we have some vocal chops. Hey! 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 And digging into the instruments, first we have the magnetic upright preset. And for the lead part, I'm using a Monarch preset called Vibes Lead. For the bass, I have the Bass Synth Sunset preset from Maschine's internal bass synth. And for some random texture, I have the Polysynth preset Lush Poly 8. And I couldn't help myself for this last sound, but it's the Lush Poly 8 preset, resampled and pitched down a full octave. And with that, here's the full beat. Alright guys, so those were just a few ways that I feel that these expansion packs add value to your beat making and your music production. With that said, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already, and happy beat making. Peace.